US and bumper results for two big names on Wall Street.
Yeah, let's start with Apple first. The iPhone maker reporting earnings that beat expectations in the first 3 months of this year. Revenues were up almost 5% to over $45 billion. The iPhone was the company's star performer, with sales jumping 17% after its launch in China in January. Charlotte Hawkins has the story.
A sweet surprise from Apple. Revenue at the technology firm rose to over $45 billion, beating forecasts, and a record for a 3-month period outside of Christmas. It's largely thanks to a jump in iPhone sales. Apple sold 43.7 million of its smartphones in the first 3 months of this year, outweighing disappointing iPad sales of 16.3 million. The success is driven by China, where the iPhone launched in January. As growth has slowed in all other major markets, Apple's sales in China have increased continuously for the last year. But the company isn't innovating at the same level as it did under Steve Jobs, and investors fear for Apple's long-term growth. It's been 4 years now since the launch of the iPad, and the pressure is on for Apple to bring out the next big thing. CEO Tim Cook says innovations are on the way and asked for patience.
We didn't ship the first MP3 player, nor the first smartphone, nor the first tablet. It means much more to us to get it right than to be first.
Rumours of what's coming next include an internet-linked smart watch and a revamped Apple TV service. The new iPhone 6 will also be unveiled later this year.
Now, the other big name reporting results on Wednesday was Facebook. The social network saw profits rise to $642 million as their revenues soared a massive 71% from the same period last year. Facebook now says it has almost 1.3 billion monthly users. Mobile advertising was the key driver of growth in the company's earnings. It now accounts for almost 3/5, in fact, of Facebook's ad revenue. Facebook has seen the number of mobile users explode in recent years. More than 600 million of us log on from mobile devices to Facebook every day.
Myself included. All right, how did the markets take that news, Stephen?
Well, actually, shares in both Apple and Facebook, as you might imagine, jumped in after hours trading after those results were announced. Apple shares, you can see, up almost 8% in trading. The company's announced it's to split its shares in 7. You can see the value over $560 there, trying to bring that down to something more affordable. But that rise in value adding some $35 billion to the company's market worth. Over in Asia, Apple's main rival Samsung did see its shares rise, actually, after those results, up around 1% in Seoul, but the Kospi still ending up in the red. Here in Europe, it has been a generally positive start to the day. Shares in AstraZeneca in London down after their disappointing results, whereas in Paris, the French defence firm Dassault has seen its shares rise by 3% after confirming its earnings forecast for this year.
OK, Stephen, take us through some of the day's other companies' news.
Now we'll start with the Swiss pharmaceutical company Novartis, which has seen its profits rise by 22% in the first 3 months of this year. That's despite sales remaining static at $14 billion. The results partly explain why Novartis went on its spending spree earlier this week, buying a cancer drug business from GlaxoSmithKline for $16 billion. And the French engineering group Alstom says it has no knowledge of a reported buyout offer from General Electric. Bloomberg reported late on Wednesday that GE was in talks to buy the French firm, which makes trains and power plants. One of the sources quoted said GE might pay up to $13 billion for Alstom. Shares in the company up a massive 15% in Paris on that news this morning.
Right, we'll hear in France next, where the government gave its report on the state of the economy amidst massive spending cuts. Yeah,
that's right. Cabinet ministers approved the 50 billion euro spending cuts at a cabinet meeting on Wednesday, despite objections from some members of the Socialist Party. Prime Minister Manuel Valls sticking to plans to freeze public sector salaries and welfare payments.
All right, Stephen, thanks very much for that business update. Time to take a look now at what's grabbing the headlines with Florence Villeminot. First of all, let's take a look, Flo, at all this focus on the